Hey guys, welcome to your wealth fingerprint. This video, we're going to talk about how to understand your wealth fingerprint. What is your wealth fingerprint? Well, if you're familiar with the work of T. Harv Eker, he'll talk about your blueprint. This is very similar concept. Your blueprint for financial success. What I call your fingerprint. That's all the experiences you've had with money, about money, and interactions with money, good, bad, and memorable throughout your lifetime make up your wealth fingerprint. So this is what determines, and again, it goes into your subconscious mind. A lot of it is your subconscious programming from childhood about money, things that people taught you about money early on. Those are the hardest things to transform because they're deeply embedded in your belief system. So if when you were 3 years old and your parents, you were crying because you wanted a toy and your parents were saying money doesn't grow on trees, or I can't afford that, or I don't have that money, those are so deeply ingrained in who you are that it's very, very difficult to transform. It takes a great deal of fasting and meditation and really deep spiritual work to overcome that on the subconscious level. And I would actually recommend hypnosis. Hypnosis would work very great with that. And there is a lot of validity to it because your subconscious mind is speaking to your conscious mind all the time, and your conscious mind doesn't even think about it. It's not even aware of a lot of the kind of loops and records going on, right? So it's like your subconscious mind has all these records playing of what your thoughts are about money, about, oh, you can never make that much, or that's too much money, or every time you get, this is why a lot of people, every time they get a certain amount of money, they'll, even if they make a bunch of money or they come into money, then, it's a very short amount of time before they're back down into their, smaller accounts, right? Their amounts are much smaller again. Because they're programmed to have small amounts of money. They're programmed to not have enough money. They're programmed for lack. Even if you have money coming in all the time, the people are always spending it, and they're always having the same, kind of bank balances, right? Even if you were to give them an extra $10,000, they would find a way unconsciously to spend it and get rid of it because it doesn't feel right sitting in their bank account. So this is really where you can start to piece together what your individual fingerprint is. Nobody has the same. I mean, very, very different, And a lot of times people who grow up in the same household, in the same, experience can have very, very different experiences because they have different experiences that shape their subconscious programs about money. So, so things can get deeply embedded early on in life, and that's when, kind of your first 5 years of life is when you have a lot of programs being developed that you don't even know about. It could take a lot of hypnosis and regression to actually get into those subconscious thought patterns, but they are driving your conscious mind at all times there. You really have to be conscious about how these programs are set up. So it's really important to understand what your fingerprint is. It's important to understand, your earliest memories about money. My earliest memory is every time I would go to see my grandfather, he'd give me a dollar bill. So it was always kind of like, I don't know why, but I was always so excited. I was 2 years old, 3 years old. I didn't know what money was. I couldn't do anything with it, but I was always excited because I got a dollar. So it was like, for me, that was a positive memory. A negative memory was when I was like 7, I had $7 and I lost it. I didn't know where it went. And I was really upset at myself because it was a lot of money. I was really upset. I had this money, I lost it, I don't know where it went, and then I ended up finding it a couple weeks later in some jeans or something, But this was it was very traumatizing for me as a young kid to have this money. I was excited to have it, and then I was almost pissed at myself because I lost it and misplaced it. And then, of course, always had parents talking about, money doesn't grow on trees, or, I can't afford that, or we're not rich, or rich people are bad, or rich people are greedy. Those types of statements and affirmations and beliefs about money are part of your fingerprint. Even if you know better than that, they're still in there in your fingerprint. So, if you have the money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are evil and greedy, That's deeply embedded in you. That's work that has to be done. So, and that may not be the same for you, but whatever it is for you, you have certain beliefs around money. This makes up your fingerprint. And so it's really important to go back throughout your life and understand those key experiences and events that occurred around money, and understand, how these belief systems were imprinted onto you and how they might still be running your subconscious mind and influencing your choices and actions today. So this is your wealth fingerprint. This is why it's really important to understand your belief about money, your thoughts about money, your thoughts about wealth, your thoughts about rich people, your thoughts about poor people, your thoughts about being rich, your thoughts about being poor. What are those for you? Understand and identify all of these. Start writing them down. Understand, classify them, write them down. What are your thoughts on rich people? What's your thoughts on money? What's your earliest memory about money? What do you think about money? What did you used to think about money? What were your wrong beliefs about money that are now you've corrected? Because a lot of times you correct a belief, there's oftentimes residual subconscious beliefs. So those are the places to start. Dig in there and start transforming those subconscious beliefs about money. And this is how you can use your wealth, start changing your wealth fingerprint to being something that is more profitable to you and something that will serve you greater in the future. Because if you don't believe that you're worthy of money, or you don't believe that good people can make money, can make a lot of money, that's going to affect you, right? Because you obviously probably believe that you're a good person, and yet you have the subconscious belief that good people don't make a lot of money. That can hold you back. That's a subconscious trigger or a subconscious imprint that can hold you back. So it's really important to start to kind of draw out your own personalized understanding of your wealth fingerprint, and then use that to your advantage as you go through these modules, because you're going to want to continue to expand. If you say you want to be a millionaire, you're going to need to take your existing wealth fingerprint, and you're going to need to write out what your wealth fingerprint is as a millionaire, and you're going to have to start working on that gap. And obviously if you're not a millionaire, you don't have this fingerprint yet. So you have to develop it. And in fact, you're going to have to develop it before you become a millionaire, because you'll never become a millionaire until you develop that fingerprint of wealth. So use this to your advantage. Use this. It's a concept. Nothing I'm saying here is gospel. It's not absolute truth. It's just my way of communicating to you my knowledge and my information. Take what works for you. Take what matches your logic, and just ignore what doesn't. Okay, don't fault me for it. It's communication. Communication is subpar. I mean, until we can master telepathy. Communication is very limited. My vocabulary is limited. My understanding of my words is limited. And this is the other thing about the fingerprint in the subconscious mind, is that communication is so limited. Right? One word for me might have a certain vibration. It might have a certain resonance to it. And for you, it might be completely different. So this is why communication is flawed inherently. However, it is our most useful form of transmitting knowledge. So use this in understanding what your current fingerprint is, understand what your old fingerprint is, and then define. So there's three outcomes of this video. Understand what your old fingerprint is, understand what your current fingerprint is, and then create what your ideal fingerprint is. Okay, you can write it down, write down the attributes of this, and then start tying them together, right? And look at the gaps. Look at the gaps. That's where you can go to work. Go to work on the gap between your existing fingerprint and your old fingerprint, and where do you have some really negative stuff or really old, outdated thoughts, and start to dispel those, start to tear those apart. And then look at, what fingerprint that you want to create and what your current fingerprint is, and start working on that gap, because that's the only thing that's going to get you there. So once you get to your final fingerprint, where you want to be, you need to start embodying that. And once you embody that, that's going to be your fingerprint to success financially. I'll see you on the next video.